Hello, I'm Louie, head of acquisitions at my art broker. If you're looking to buy or sell a Roy Lichtenstein print, here are a few things that you might want to keep in mind. Comic book aficionado Roy Lichtenstein was an incredibly important figure in the pop art landscape. He was born in 1923 and he passed in 1997, and today demand for his prints has never been higher. Roy Lichtenstein can be described as the godfather of American pop art. He had a particular fascination for mechanically produced imagery. He was really fascinated by industrialization. He often said that his paintings had a handmade quality, but that with his prints, he could achieve a sense of perfection. He was heavily inspired by comic books, and specifically the printing process for comic books that he sort of transferred into the art world.
I mean, obviously, he used a highly graphic style, and they reproduce beautifully as prints. I mean, Lichtenstein is considered one of the great printmakers in art history because his stuff, I mean, it's so clearly defined. You know, there's a hard line around these images. And, you know, his colors tend to be, you know, reds, greens, yellows, blues. You know, it's disarmingly simple in some ways, and yet there is a genius to this.
Acquiring or selling a Roy Lichtenstein print is always a good investment. Demand has never been higher, and the same can be said about value. Most recently, his print Nude with Blue Hair sold at auction for £500,000. What sets Roy Lichtenstein's prints apart from a number of his contemporaries, think Warhol or Haring or Basquiat, is simply his iconic and instantly recognizable style. I mean, obviously, comic book lovers to the front. A number of his prints have done incredibly well at auction recently. While his individual prints keep doing very well, there is a specific appeal right now for his portfolios. Think of his 10 landscapes, for example. While these prints can be sold individually at auction, they're just likely to attain higher results when they are sold as a full set, especially if you can get matching edition numbers. One of his most iconic, unique artworks, aptly titled Masterpiece, sold at auction in 2017 for a whopping $165 million.
Well, you know, if you go back in art history, Lichtenstein was a combination of right place at the right time. I mean, you can't do this anymore. And I think it was 61, might have been 62. He walked into the Leo Castelli Gallery in New York City. Everybody knows who Leo Castelli is. And at the time, Castelli was showing Rauschenberg and Johns and Frank Stella. I mean, he had a formidable roster. And Lichtenstein just walked in with a few of his paintings. You can't do stuff like that now. And it's hard to believe, but he roped them to the roof of his car and drove in with them to New York. And he just walked in, "Hi, I'm Roy Lichtenstein, and you know, I've got these paintings I'd like to show you." And Ivan Karp, who was Castelli's director and who was a friend of mine, was always willing to look. He was a very courteous person, but he was also smart. He was always on the lookout for talent. And the art world was so small in the early 60s. It wasn't like it is now where it's corporate. And Lichtenstein was a professor. I think he was teaching at Ohio State, Columbus, Ohio. Anyway, he brings them in. It's a summer vacation. And Ivan looks at these paintings, and you know, they were taken from comic books, cartoons. And I think Ivan's first comment was, "I'm not sure you're allowed to do that." You know, I mean, it was that radical back then. And he brought Leo over. He goes, "Leo, look at these things." And Castelli was perplexed because it wasn't, you know, like Johns, you know, who made these lush, beautiful paintings. It was just like, huh? What is this? It had a commercial edge to it. Like I said, through Roy Lichtenstein's sensibility, through his filter, he could transform this from commercial art to fine art. The guy was a genius. All right. Long and short of it is that they gave him a show.
When you're on the verge of acquiring a Roy Lichtenstein print, a few things to think about are, is it signed or not? Has it been signed by the artist? Is it editioned? What is the edition total? What is the provenance? Who did it belong to? Where did that person acquire it? Is it authentic? Do you have the paperwork to get along with it? Just make sure that you bear that in mind for resale purposes. If you're looking to sell your Roy Lichtenstein print, there are a number of avenues that you can explore. Auction, online, or private sales via an art broker. Now, if you want to sell at auction, what you have to bear in mind is there are going to be a number of fees associated to that. Think seller's commission, which can be up to 15%. Think service fees, things like insurance, transportation. If you're thinking about selling your print online, you won't be protected against fraud. You also might be devaluing your print overall. If you choose to sell privately via an art broker, especially a broker that is specialized in pop art and that is recognized for having achieved successful sales for similar artists, think Warhol, Haring, Basquiat, etc., then that might be a smart avenue to explore. You're going to get a free appraisal, and if you find the right one, you might get 0% seller's fees. So at the end of the day, you're just going to pocket more money. If you're looking to buy or sell a print by the godfather of American pop, then those are a few things that you might want to bear in mind.